Welcome back to Flipzine Studio. We are looking at book number 1, the Essentials Pack. It's a little series we're doing. We're almost done with this book where we will be able to move on to the next one. This particular tutorial is going to be for the 4-inch scale figure, but I do offer these in 6-inch scale figures. So just be sure to make note of that if you look at these books on eBay where they're sold. Alright, so that being said, let's move forward. Today we're going to be doing tutorial number 11. This is the desert ruins scene that's in the book. And today we're going to be doing Apocalypse. I think Apocalypse is a good character to use in the desert ruins because he kind of has a little bit of that Egyptian, background where he was, initially, I guess, from that era and now he's been brought back. So I thought it would be fitting. And just so you know, I am using Windows, so if you're using a Mac, just know that when I use terms like Control, you're going to use Command when I talk about some of the shortcuts I press. Alright, I am using Photoshop to do this. There are other alternatives to Photoshop. There's some free software out there. One up here, for example, is called photop.com. And I'm going to be using overlays, and those are basically special effects that I've created. If you want to know how to make some of those yourself, go see tutorial number 3. And it shows you it's pretty easy. Alright, so that being said, let's jump right into it. So here's Apocalypse right here in front of the Desert Ruins background. And for starters, as always, I'm going to choose the background layer here. And first thing I'm going to do, let's just make sure we get that lighting about where we want it. I might brighten this up a little bit. Just coming straight out of my cell phone, it's a little dull. Let's go with that for now. It's a little bit brighter. Okay, so typically what you want to do first is select your main picture, and we want to remove Apocalypse from this image and put him on his own layer. So the way we do that is you're going to get your quick selection tool here, and we're going to say select subject. Photoshop is super smart now, I guess, paired with the technology of AI. It's able to detect very well. You used to have to do this kind of stuff manually, but now it's super simple, as you just saw. So now we got him selected. We're going to say Control C and Control Shift V. All right, so we now have Apocalypse on his own layer right there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we want Apocalypse to match the color and tones of the background because he's a little vibrant to be in this world. It's not believable completely at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want layer 4 to look like it matches the layer of Desert Ruins. Okay, so we're going to select layer 4, and we're going to go to Image. We're going to say Adjustments, Match Color. So we are in this document, and we're going to say we want it to match the... Which one is it again? Oh, here it is. Gotta find the layer. All right, so obviously that's way too much, right? So always what I say to do is to grab this fader right here, bring it all the way up. So that's back to where we were. And then you're gonna slowly bring it down until it looks believable. So I feel like that's a little more believable, somewhere in here. You can also play with the luminance if you want to brighten him up or darken him a little bit. You can play with that as well. All of these settings really. But I feel like a good starting point is to play with the fade. So now his color tones kind of match the environment a little bit better. I'll just go with that for the sake of time. Okay, so now we have this. All right, already looking a little better. Now let's get rid of that spiral binding. So let's go back here. We're going to select the background layer, and we're going to get our little square marquee tool, and we're going to highlight the spiral binding. You want to click Generate a Fill, leave everything default, and just click the Generate button. Now what's going to happen is Photoshop's going to give us about 3 options. Usually you can find what you're looking for right there within those 3. If not, you can click Generate again, and it'll give you 3 more options. You can do this endlessly until you find what you're happy with. But like I said, typically you'll find what you are looking for in the first 3 options. So that's already not bad. Let's click this. That's better. I think I'm going to go with number 2. And that one just feels more natural. So here's that one. So we're going to click this generative fill layer, hold Control, and click the layer underneath of it. And we're going to say Control E, and that's going to merge those 2 layers. So already we got a picture. Technically, you could stop right here if you wanted to. But if you know me, I like to go for that magazine shot. So that's where we add in these overlays or special effects. Now I've already pre-picked out a couple that I thought would go good with the desert scene, such as some sun glares and some sand. things of that nature. Maybe even electricity. We'll see. Maybe around his hand. We'll play with that in a second. So for starters, let's take a look at some of the sand right here. So I have this sand overlay. As you can see, it's just a little yellowish cloud. I want to put some of that in front of him, like it's blowing around. You know, this is a desert, so things are dirty. And I may take some of this fog. I'm gonna put it behind him. Remember, if it's above his layer, it's gonna be in front of him. If it's underneath of his layer, to be behind him. So we're gonna get some of that behind him. You can see it looks like a cloud behind him. Let's make that a little bigger. I don't know, maybe something like this. And what I might do is go to image adjustments and let's colorize that cloud back there, or smoke, whatever you call it. Let's make it a little more yellow to match kind of the tones. And that's it. So I think that one looks pretty cool. So already it's coming to life. Putting an effect behind him and in front of him puts him in the middle, right? It's kind of got him sandwiched between the layers, and it makes him feel like he's more in the scene, if that makes sense. Okay, moving on. I like to start usually with like smoke and sand and the dusty stuff. The second thing I like to do usually is lighting. So let's go with some sun rays. All right, so here it is. It looks like the hot spot of the image is up here. So we're going to keep it that way. We're going to put this sunlight up there where that hot spot's coming from. Let's maximize this. I like to put sun rays at the very top so it goes across everything. All right, it's kind of subtle. If I were to hide it, if you look right here before and after, it does make a big difference. If it's too much on him, you get your eraser tool. You're going to do that by pressing Shift E to toggle through your different erasers. You want just your standard eraser tool. You want to make sure that the hardness is all the way down. You want it to be soft. And just find the appropriate size for his face. I would even come up here and go 50% with the opacity. And you can make sure you're on the correct layer if it's too much. And you can start removing some of that from some of his main features, like his face, right? His face and head. So there he is. So now he still kind of stands out. Get it off his chest a little bit, maybe a little off of his arms, but for the most part we can leave it up there. It's not bad. Okay, so now let's go with more sunlight. Again, I like to drag the sunlight things to the top so it shines across everything. Now the sunshine is on the wrong side. I need it on that side. So I'm going to click this little box and we're going to invert it horizontally, and then we're going to drag it up here where it should be, and we'll have some of these glares kind of shoot across his body. It just looks like a lens flare when you took the photo. Alrighty, it's looking pretty cool. I like it. I threw this in here just to see what it would look like. These are little particles. I called it forest particles because they were, I don't know, you could really use them in any environment, but they almost look like dust spots or something, right? So I'm just going to kind of put that all in the image. It kind of adds a mystical element, but it's a little too clear, and I don't want those to draw too much attention. So what I might do is choose this layer, and I might say filter, and I'm going to go with blur. I'm going to say Gaussian blur, and you can really adjust this to wherever you want it at. Honestly, where it's at's not bad. You can see the difference if I do before and after, how it adds these little blurry spots. They kind of just look like dust spots. So already, once again, yes, it's looking pretty good. Let's see, what did I have? I was debating doing some electrical things, such as this here. Maybe putting that in his hand over here, and maybe erasing a little bit of his hand so you can see his hand. So we erased a little bit off of it. And that power, that color doesn't fully fit with this image, so I might go in here and change the color and tones of it. Let's see, the blues, I mean, they just obviously look like they would go with him. So I'm gonna go with some blue colors here. Maybe bring the saturation down a little bit. Yeah, that's looking a little better. And I might take the opacity of that layer down a hair. That was way too much. All right, let's bring it back some. I think that looks pretty good. So yeah, see, so I think that's pretty cool. So just for the sake of time, I mean, you can go on and on and on. Just find more creative overlays, create more creative overlays, and just, you know, let your imagination run wild. I'll stop for here just so I don't take up your time, but you see a good example of how you can edit something in this environment. One of the last things I like to do, I like to grab all of these effects. So I'll click the top one, go all the way down to the bottom, hold shift and click like this, and then you'll say Control E to merge those together. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to want to come in here next and click the top effect and go all the way down to the bottom generative fill. You're going to hold shift and click it. That will highlight everything in between, and then you're going to say Control E to merge it all together. So what I like to do now is go to Adjustments, and then I go to Presets, and I find Creative, and I'm going to do the Dark Fade. All right, so we're going to click his layer, and we're going to add this Dark Fade to it. Now, if you come down here to the Dark Fade layer, we're going to collapse that folder. So choosing this whole layer, let's turn it all the way down to 0. So now we're back where we started. Let's slowly bring this up until it gets, to that look that we're looking for. See, I think that feels like a movie, right? It adds a little bit of that dramatic feel to it. So I'm gonna merge those two together by selecting them both and pressing Control E. Okay, and now what I like to do is go back to Adjustments. We're gonna go to Single Adjustments, and I like to play with the levels. So I'm gonna do that. We're gonna scroll down here. I like to grab this dark slider, start dragging the darks up like that. And then you can try bringing, see this, it's already kind of bright, so you don't want to mess with the bright one. Let's see what that middle one looks like. Let's play with that until we get it where we want it. That's not bad. I think we'll go with that. So then we can take those two, highlight those, and Control E to merge those together. Now we got this final picture here. So I think it looks pretty cool. So last, what I like to do is add my logo. So we'll pop that up there, but you don't want your logo to be the focal point. So we're going to bring the opacity typically down to around somewhere between 30 and 40%. In this case, I might make it around 40, somewhere in there. So you can kind of see who created the picture, and we can merge those together. There we go. So we have this final shot right here. Now bear with me, and we will take a look at the before. Sorry, the video just cut. I had to go get the before picture. I forgot to add it this time. So here's the before image. I'll show you in our after so you can see the difference. So here's before, after, before, and after. It feels like you're at an eye doctor. Number 1 or number 2, or is it just smaller and darker? Anyway, so yes, so here you go. Not bad right out of a camera if you just want to snap something quick. Post it on eBay or whatever you're doing, you're taking pictures for. But with a little bit of editing, you can really take it to the next level and just really create that magazine shot. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this lesson. Let me know what you think. Please, I have never asked anybody to subscribe before, but it does let me know that you guys are interested if I see some subscribers start to happen. So, and I'll keep making these. Okay, I hope this helps. Thanks.